Hey guys, so this is a continuation from a previous video. Previously we had done the three, we call these orthographic sketches. Basically we sketched the top view of an object, we sketched the front view of the same object, and then we sketched from the right side. Just reviewing, solid lines were kind of lines that marked that there were different blocks at different heights, and a dotted line was representing that we have some hidden heights. So basically from the right side, this middle block here, which was only one tall, is hidden by these three blocks here, so we put a dotted line. These two blocks here were also hidden by those three blocks, so there was another dotted line there. So that's just a review. We are going to now do the isometric drawing. An isometric drawing is trying to show the item in 3 dimensions. It's also perfectly angled so that we can see the tops, the fronts, and the right side views all at once. So the isometric is kind of a combination of the 3 views that we've already done. So when we were drawing on the square graph paper, one thing we did is that each block we made to be 2 squares wide. For the isometric drawing, I like to make everything just be 1, okay? And you could do it too tall and wide and everything like that. I think it's just a little bit easier to do it with just 1 on this isometric, and it just kind of ends up being a little bit bigger. So I like to, on my isometric drawing, I always like to kind of start in the front left corner, which is different from the other views where we were always starting in kind of whatever corner of the paper we're in. For the isometric, I'll often always start in kind of this front left corner. So kind of like we did before, I'm just going to kind of mark a dot to represent where I'm starting. If your dot is not in the same place as mine, that's okay. You just don't want your dot to be up too high or too far to the right, or you might run out of room. So basically this dot is representing this corner right here. So I always like to kind of take it 2 lines at a time. I think that's the easiest way to make sure that you're not losing sight of what you're trying to draw. So I'm going to draw this vertical line here, and then this slanted horizontal or diagonal line here. So we're just going to start with those 2. So if this is the dot, I know that I just need to, I'm going to try to use my ruler to make this nice and neat. I'm going to go up 1 square. So like I said, it's a little bit different from the orthographic. I drew from the dot to here, so up until I got to that next crisscrossing grid lines, and then I'm also going to draw it going down this way. And apologies, I should have used my ruler. It just gets hard sometimes with the small lines. So what we have so far, like I said, I'm going to do 2 lines at a time. I have this side here and this side. Okay. Now let's go ahead and finish the face of this block. Let's do this line going up and this line connecting to the one that we already had there. So that's from here. I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to connect to the line I already have. Okay, so we kind of have an angled square. It doesn't look like the perfect square of the face because, again, it's at this angle, and lines start to get skewed when we put things at an angle. So I have these 4 lines, so the next 2 lines I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this line kind of going back here, as well as this line going back right here. So I know that's from this front corner here, going back 1, and then that next corner also going back 1. Hopefully you're starting to see this cube take shape on your paper. Hopefully going just kind of 2 lines at a time helps. I have this line down here that I'm going to add in next, and then kind of this crevice in here. So we kind of have a right angle in here, but I'm going to draw this line going back, and then that line going up. And we have created our first cube on the paper. Now I'm missing this side here. That would be this one here. So I'm just going to add that in. Okay. So we have 1 cube on the paper. Okay. Like I said, your isometric drawing is going to be angled. I'm trying to hold it at an angle about what it will look like. So we've essentially drawn this first cube here. Now we can't see, we know there's a cube here, but we can't see that one. So we're actually not going to draw it, but we do know that there's going to be one up here. Again, take it 2 lines at a time if this is your first time doing an isometric drawing. I'm going to simply start by drawing these 2 lines going straight up from corners that I've already drawn. So I know if I start here, this corner is the same as this corner right here I'm pointing to with my pencil. Kind of hard to hold and point. But I'm just going to do a straight line going up, and then I'm going to go to this other corner of this cube and do the same thing. Straight line going up. Okay, so I've done this line and this line. I'm going to do, let's say, we'll probably draw this line here, connect those 2, and then maybe one going back. So I'm going to connect the 2 lines. Okay, if I'm going too fast at any point, please feel free to pause, rewind, maybe slow down the speed of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, it does allow you to change that speed. That might help some of you. So I just drew this line going here. I'm going to draw this line going back. That looks like that one. Okay. I'm going to draw the line in the back here, and then I'm going to connect it back to this line I've already drawn. So we're kind of completing that square on the top. Go there. Good start so far. Okay, the next lines I'm going to draw is going to actually be this one back here coming down, and then kind of coming across here. Okay, I had it just like that. So we have to keep going. So we've kind of drawn kind of these 2 so far. Again, we can't see this one underneath without turning it, so that doesn't get included. But we do have this next one here. Okay. So one thing I'm going to do real quick is these 2 blocks kind of go together. They're the same height there. So from this point right here, since that's kind of moving in here, I'm right here. I'm going to just draw 2 squares or 2 kind of lines over. So start from here. I like to put my ruler on top so I can see it. 1, 2. Okay, so that crossed 1, 2 of those kind of triangles, sides of triangles, if that makes sense. Okay, now within that though, we're going to have some other ones. Okay, so I'm going to draw this line right here next. Okay, and that would go from here. That would go, actually, let's talk about this for a second. So if I'm going ahead and I'm going to draw this line here, I can actually draw a continuation of it, since that's kind of where it would be. Okay, so that keeps going up. So I'm going to start down here. Actually, yeah, so let's draw this line first. I'm going to backtrack for a moment. Let's draw this line going across here. Let's do 1 block at a time. Let's finish this block, and then we'll move on up here. Okay, so this line would come down like that. Okay, so this line here is representing this line here. Okay, now I'm going to go up. Okay, so I misspoke before. I started at the bottom. I was going to go all the way up. Let's come across here. And then now I'm going to go up. So I'm at this corner here. And what you're actually going to notice is on this view of this paper, they're actually overlapping a little bit. Okay, so just stay with me. It'll kind of continue and make sense, and hopefully you'll kind of see how it all works out at the end. So I just went up to here, which means I now want to kind of make this top square up here. Do it 2 lines at a time. I'm going to come over, and then over, and then back to kind of that original spot I drew. And it looks like this. I'm going to go over this way. I'm going to go over that way. Keep going around kind of that square. And I got to the beginning. Okay, so this square up here is essentially the top of this stack, or the top of that block there. I have an edge right here, so I'm going to go all the way down those 3 squares here, since I've finished with the top, and then after that I'm also going to do going all the way down on this edge. So this is that first corner of the top, so I'm going to go down to there first. And then I'm also going to start from this corner, and I went down 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 here. Okay. We'll notice that this side's a little bit up higher than this side, and that's okay. I'm actually going to connect those. And basically, if I can kind of show this lined up about right, isometric is always it's technically at a 30-degree angle. That's kind of sometimes for me hard to show holding it just right. So I'm going to kind of mimic it, I guess, kind of like this. So my drawing, we can see this first cube here. That's this one. We have the second cube here. I suppose I should lower it down so we can see the tops a little bit. The second cube is this one here. So of this middle cube, we really can only see a little bit of its top and then its side, but that's what we have here. We have the side, we've got a little bit of the top, and then we have this 3 cube that went up. We can see the top, we see this side, and then we can see the right side. So top, this kind of front face, and then that side. So that is an isometric drawing. I drew it kind of using 1 triangle per side. You can do it if you did it with 2 triangles per side. You would get a bigger image then. Don't be afraid to try it either way. If you have any questions, please pause the video, rewind, and kind of work your way back through. Let me know if you have any questions.